Hi everyone. Here we are. We have one 29-month-old daughter, Sage Derin, and 1-month-old first Evren, and they are both sleeping at the same time, which is a miracle right now. So we decided that we would come together and make a video sharing my birth story with Forrest Evren. We've been wanting to do this for the last nearly 5 weeks, but believe it or not, with a newborn and a toddler, we couldn't really find any time to come together where they're both sleeping and the house is quiet and we can focus on making this video. Anyways, I already recorded this on in Turkish and I put it on YouTube already. If you're interested, you can always go and search for it in my channel. But I thought I would also make this video with my husband, who's definitely normally more talkative than me and funnier than me. So I'm gonna start and then he's gonna jump in and share from his perspective as well. So nearly 5 weeks ago now, I gave birth to Forrest Evren. My contractions started on the 18th, around 18th of September, around 3 a.m. at night.
I was asleep.
And I remember, well, first of all, actually, before I go into the story, the reason we really wanted to do this was to encourage other women who really want to do natural birth or vaginal birth after C-section. I believe it's called VBAC in English. It's a different name in Turkish. And just to encourage them and also to put my story out there for us, so when we look back we remember all the details, because even now with Sage's birth I probably forgot lots of details already, even though she's only 29 months old. On the 18th of September around 3 a.m. at night,
I was asleep.
My contractions, or I refer to them as my waves, started. I knew there was something interesting happening, and I knew the feeling of contractions because I already had those before. Because when I lost my first baby, I did have contractions at home, or waves at home, or surges. There are so many names now for them. So yeah, around 3 a.m. I remember feeling something strange, and I knew it was probably birth starting, but I wasn't obviously 100%. So I remember waking Lawrence up and saying, "Lawrence, I think I have my contractions. I have contractions and they're here." Lawrence's reaction was, do you remember?
Tell me more.
Tell me more. And then I said, "What do you mean?" And then he said, "Can you explain a little bit more?" And then at that point, I was really annoyed and I said, "Whatever, you just go back to sleep. I can deal with this on my own." So I immediately messaged my friend who lives in the States, my really good friend, my best friend, Ceren, and said, "I think I'm having my waves, they're here." I stayed awake a little bit, but then I eventually fell asleep. And then when I woke up, it was the morning. I think Sage was probably awake, and we already had an appointment with my doctor, my OBGYN. So we went to him. I was having my waves on the way to his office, and they checked how I was doing. They connected me. They put me on the, I don't know what it's called in English. It's called NST.
NST.
But there's a different name, actually, which I knew before.
It measures the baby's heart rate and also any contractions that you may be having, right?
Mm-hmm. So they put me on that, and I was doing okay. The baby was doing okay. But the strangest thing was they couldn't see any contractions on the machine, on that device. So, which made me question, like, okay, then what are these things I've been feeling since 3 a.m. last night? So yeah, they couldn't see anything, but they did believe me, I think. So my doctor checked how the baby's doing and everything was fine. And he said I really wanted to do vaginal natural birth, So he said he will wait for me because I really wanted that. As long as the baby's fine and I'm fine. He wanted to wait until a certain date, I believe, until I was 21 weeks. And then if the...
21 weeks?
Sorry.
41.
Thankfully not.
Yeah, not 21 weeks, everybody. 41 weeks. Keep going, though.
Because I was already 40 plus 4 at that point. So if nothing was happening, they were gonna send me to the hospital and I was gonna be admitted to the hospital. I was gonna give birth and then they were gonna induce me in a couple of days' time. But I told him I think I'm having my contractions or waves, and he couldn't see them again on that device. So he put his hand on my belly and then he said he can feel them, and obviously because I was getting really like tight around my belly. We left there and then we went to a very lovely patisserie that we absolutely love, because also we wanted to treat Sage to something. Anyway, we went there.
I think we also went to a shoe repairman as
We
well to
did.
pick up some shoes.
Yes,
They've been
that's
repaired.
true. We did that as well on that same day, on the 18th of September. And then we had some lovely croissants.
Sage liked her croissants.
And tea and coffee. But I remember Lawrence going and while he was going and paying for them, I was having my waves actually at the table. So I closed my eyes, I tried to focus, but they were not super intense, but they were still painful. After that, we came home, and at that point, I think my waves started getting more frequent and a bit more intense. And I think I knew I was in labor, but I didn't want to take it too seriously either because I didn't want to get anxious or scared. I kind of kept it light and just changed positions on the bed. What else did I do?
Well, and while you're doing that, we kind of got Sage down for a nap. I went back to work from home, my office.
Yes, and yeah, I was just resting on the bed, trying different moves and different... Oh, I was on the Pilates ball as well.
Pilates, British people.
Pilates ball. Pilates is the version.
Pilates.
Turkish
Americans.
version of it. Anyway, and then we have a lovely lady who comes and plays with Sage time to time. Her name is Dilek. So she came over to spend time with Sage because I wasn't at that state of like spending time with a toddler.
And when she arrived, you were at the door.
Yes.
You couldn't open it because you were like...
Yeah.
And
So-
Dilek kind of walked in and was kind of like... okay, anyway, Sage.
Yes, yeah, because right after we opened the door, I had a contraction come immediately, so I had to lean on something and just breathe it out and focus on it. Yeah, Dilek spent some time here with Sage.
I went back to work.
Lawrence went back to work. And then I was spending a lot of time in the bedroom, and then all our backpacks, all our suitcases, everything was ready for the hospital. And then I remember towards the end of it, I was getting into that like intense zone that I was having more intense waves. And then at that point, I thought I would go into the shower and start taking a shower, and that was really, really helpful. Then I think Dilek left.
She needs to go.
And I was in a lot of pain at that point. I was in a lot of discomfort. I knew something was happening. I downloaded this app on my phone. Both Lawrence and I downloaded this app where you can time your contractions. So
It stopped working.
And then I remember messaging my doctor and say I took a screenshot and sent it to him. And then he said, maybe I can go into the hospital and get like checked up.
Get it checked
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
So Inji, who is Dilek's daughter, who is also coming over regularly to play with Sage a few times a week, doing some interactive play. She was ready to come on standby to help look after Sage. So I said, well, probably going to hospital maybe like 9ish, 8:30 or 9 this evening.
And at that point, it was around 7 or something now, where I think the waves were getting more intense. I knew something was happening. I needed to be faster.
I told her, come in the taxi now.
Yeah, because she was gonna take a bus. She was gonna take the bus, and then I think I remember telling Lawrence she needs to come right now. We gotta go.
And I was like, right. I remember like I need to have stuff ready. I was like, I'd planned to make a really nice smoothie that you could sip for nutrition and energy and strength. And I quickly ran to the kitchen. It was like blending up frozen fruit and dates and yogurts and other lovely things that are good for you, and trying to shove it on grab cold packs and stuff like that.
Because when you're in intense, like the active labor part, you really cannot talk, you cannot eat much. Maybe you can drink stuff, but you cannot drink much, you cannot eat much, you cannot talk much, you cannot really communicate really well that what you're really desiring or wanting. So it's really good to talk to your partner, your birth partner,
that's me,
beforehand, and let them know what you will probably want. Like you might want them to be pretty absent even. You may not want them around that much. You might really want their support. You may want to be touched, you may not want to be touched. If you know all these things about you, it's really good to communicate these things with them. Or do you want the room to be more cold or hot or quiet or loud?
Candles, aroma, what was it? Aromatherapy.
Yes, oils. Yeah, at that point, I think Inji arrived. And then as she arrived, I was sitting on the Pilates bowl, right by the door, just like...
bobbing up and down.
Yeah, and then I had to grab Lawrence because I had a very big wave. And so I couldn't really say a proper goodbye to Sage, which was sad, but I couldn't. It was quite intense at that point. And then I don't even remember going to the car, how we got into the car.
I pushed you down the stairs on the Pilates where you rolled.
I really don't remember because...
We did a final goodbye to Sage, kind of convinced her everything's fine. She was kind of aware of it.
We will come back.
We'd done lots of prep with Sage, books and things like that, explaining what's going on.
For weeks, yeah.
Like Inji had come over to practice the bedtime routine if we weren't there, things like that, so she knew what Sage was used to. We'd done all those kind of things so to get Sage as ready as she could be. So yeah, we got you down into the car. I got you into the back of the car with the Pilates ball for support. Threw all the bags in. Yeah, including we loaded up the car in advance, make sure most stuff was in it. The buggy, car seat.
How did it feel driving your
breastfeeding cushion?
How did it feel driving your very pregnant wife?
Yeah, you were kind of like mooing in the back calmly. I was just kind of driving. It was fortunately past rush hour, so it wasn't going to take us too long to get there. It was about 12-15 minute drive, and they have a valet service at the hospital, which is brilliant. It means that someone can park your car, but we didn't even need that. But so it was a gentle drive. I messaged the doctor, messaged your midwife, one of them. Photographer. Yeah, we kind of drove carefully, slowly. They asked how regular.
Well, as we were getting there, though, one thing I did do in the car, which was super helpful, was I never opened my eyes.
I had mine open.
So because I thought, if there's a red light that we have to stop at, or like something stressful, which happens a lot, especially in Turkey in traffic. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be any more like stressed than I already was. I didn't want to feel any fear or any anxiety about anything. So I was like, just keep your eyes closed. Lawrence is driving. You're okay. You will get there eventually. Because we are not super close to the hospital either. Mm-hmm. There's, I don't know how many minutes would you say?
That's 12-15 minutes drive, but it's a fast roads as well, but if it's busy it can be slower. So.
Yeah, so like I didn't look at anything, so I don't remember. I just focused on my breathing and just getting to the hospital.
And they said don't go too fast, it sounds like you're okay, you've got plenty of time still. So I kind of took it not too fast, casual, got there, didn't need the valet service. Most people, all the day patients had left, so it's quite quiet, just parked in a disabled bay near the door. Apparently we were supposed to go over via the emergency entrance, but I kind of went for the main entrance. The guy was like, you should have gone to the emergency. I was like, my wife's having a baby. This is in Turkish, by the way, I'm not talking to the man in English.
Because you were asking for a wheelchair.
I was like, can you bring a wheelchair? I was like, well, you need to go. I was like, just a bit more helpful, please. and like in Turkish, and you kind of went and got it in the end. And so you came and brought this wheelchair for you.
When we visited the hospital, like a couple of weeks before giving birth, it was so intense. It was very crowded, very busy, very loud. They told us all the rooms on that floor, or of the birth floor, or whatever it's called,
Ward.
that ward, they were all full. So we couldn't really see any. We wanted to see some rooms. We couldn't see any rooms. They were so like packed.
So we went in. We got you into the room. The midwife came and sorted you out.
We met her, kind of like briefly, because I don't even remember. It was like a dream. I wanted to take a special position on the bed, which I knew I would be comfortable. But she told me like I need to lay down like this in this specific way, because she wanted to connect me to the NST machine to see how the baby is doing, and then she wanted to see how open I was at that point as well.
And your doctor, he's a private clinic, and he's got agreement with the hospital, so they'd spoken to the hospital in advance as to how you'd want to do things. And the midwife had spoken. Our midwife had spoken to the nurses, Gudjin, spoken to the team there about how you want to do things. And this one nurse, this is when there's one thing I learned. My job is to be the keeper of the cave, to make sure that you haven't got lots of people with messages and things going around, like trying to ask you questions. So everything had to come through me. And this one nurse, she opened the door and shouted something. So I got well angry. I said to I don't care what she's asking. I said to the midwife, just go and tell them never to do that ever again. And they didn't. They didn't come back ever again after that, the nurses.
I didn't have any gaps nearly between them. So I would have a contraction, and then I wouldn't really have any space to even relax or breathe, and then there would be another one. So it was very, very intense at this point. And I remember this one nurse coming, and Lawrence wasn't there, and she was asking me a bunch of questions, and I was like, I can answer these things right now. I really cannot. Like, she was asking me about my maybe blood type, if this is my first baby or not, and how far along I am, the first, like the beginning of the first day of my last period.
Yeah, so they came back and they asked me this as well. I was like, I'm like, look, the due date was last Thursday. She's having the baby now. Just work backwards, like work it out. And basically, I think the takeaway is, have all your vital stats written down on a piece of paper, just give it to someone, and then just don't have to deal with it. Because we weren't registered at the hospital already, they didn't have that info. So have that piece of paper where just all your information, just say, there's the answers to all your questions.
So the nurse would ask me a question, I would be like, oh, let me breathe this one out. So I would like breathe, and once the wave kind of ends, I would like answer her pretty quickly, and then another wave would come. Anyway,
we didn't let them do many of those.
Yeah,
I sent them on their way.
But so when the nurse, my midwife, when she checked me, she said I am already 4 or 5 centimeters open, which was shocking because I didn't open that quickly with Sage, and I needed to have emergency C-section after being induced for 8-9 hours for like nearly a day long. I had to be rushed to the C-section, so I never thought I would open up naturally on my own. But I was 4 or 5 centimeters open, which was great. And then I just kept sitting on the Pilates ball, sit on the, like I did the position on the bed where I was on my knees, and I had to close my eyes and just breathe it out just like that, which was super helpful for me. And then after that, yeah, this is like, by the way, this is like in the evening around 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I thought I could go and take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in the shower for a little bit.
This is like just after 9 by now, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
After 9 p.m.ish.
Yeah. And then they were pouring water on my back.
Me and the midwife with
which was
warm
really,
water
really, really
around your
nice.
body and the lower back.
Oh, it was so intense at this point. And yeah, it's like, it's the worst pain I've ever experienced, which all the women usually who given vaginal birth say, I guess. Anyway.
But saying that, you weren't, it's something that you worked out in advance. How do you do this? You knew it, like, our doctor wasn't focused on being there's pain, but not fear of that pain. I think that's important to know. You've done lots of preparation, like how you're gonna. You were focused. You weren't scared. You were very. There was intensity, but you were never afraid, and you were just very focused. And we've done lots of preparation. You've done most of the preparation, of course, because I didn't give birth, to clarify. But I'd helped you with things like your perineum massage. Google that. I won't describe it right now for those, but it helped. And also make special teas that we've been brewing up at home with lots of fresh dates and other ingredients in them to help your bodily tissues prepare down there to be soft and gooey, to make the opening a bit easier
and faster,
and to avoid tearing and things like that. I think the other thing the thing is about hormones, like having oxytocin, is it? Oxytocin is what your womb needs or your body needs to help fuel the contractions, but fear kind of or like extra stresses,
it closes your body,
where it triggers kind of like cortisol, adrenaline, or I don't know which one, but ask a medical professional. This is a medical video, but hormones that don't help the body kind of tell your body that this is a safe place and time. Your body's in a safe place to have your child. You're not about to be eaten by a lion, therefore you can have your baby come out your body. And rather than having fear responses where your body's going to say, no, maybe don't have a baby right now, might get eaten by a lion. But you were kind of just very in the zone. You kind of just flowing.
Yeah, but I was just thinking during those moments in the shower that, is this ever gonna end? When is this gonna end? I don't think I can do this anymore. But also, I have to do this because there is no other way right now. I have to go through with these waves, and I try to stay really calm. Just focus on my breathing and focused on meeting our boy. After the shower, I stayed there for a little bit, and then the midwife said, "Let me check how you're doing down there again." So she was checking. I laid on the bed and she was checking how I'm doing, and I will try to attach some videos in between this chat if I can. Let me see if I can figure that out. Basically,
you're back on the Pilates ball.
Yeah, I was.
She put you on the NST.
Oh yes, she did, right? And then she also put me on the bed at some point because she was checking how open I was at that point, and I was 8 centimeters. And as she was checking how I was doing down there, my water broke. And it was a lot of water. And then we looked at each other, and Lauren said, because we were always wondering, is my water coming? Did my water break? How does it look? How does it feel? We didn't really know.
It's a fair amount of water.
It's it's a lot of water.
So unless you've got a lot of water, it probably hasn't broken. And kind of brownish, wasn't it?
I don't remember that
It was a bit brownish.
Yeah. Oh, that's because the midwife at that point said it looked like the baby pooped inside, which could be super dangerous and risky. And the midwife said that at that point.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because that's why it looks brown. It shouldn't look brown.
Oh, right.
So
if it looks brown, check with your midwife.
I remember going to the Domhan, the delivery room as well. I kept my eyes closed and to just focus. Because with any kind of like, anything could trigger you in that moment, and you shouldn't get triggered if you can, not easily, because you really need to focus. You really need to like keep that energy and motivation and just try to focus on just baby and breathing.
And I stayed close to you and just gave you reassurance of where we are, what's happening, that you're okay.
I remember Lawrence told me, like, your doctor is here, I can see him now, you're safe. Can you see him?
He's ready.
He's here. Yeah.
He's expecting you.
And then when I saw him at that point, I was like, okay, he's here. I'm safe. This baby's gonna come out. It's okay. Now it's gonna happen. He's here. It's gonna happen. Like, don't worry. Like, I was trying to reassure myself. And then moving to the special chair, you give birth on.
With like stirrups. Was it
that was very painful as well.
Legs up.
Yeah, so they helped me. I don't know how many people.
Handles to hold on to.
I don't know how many people helped me get on there, but I got on there eventually. And then my doctor told me, like, this is the best position. Like, do this position right now, and then push. So everything was happening really, really fast. I remember, he told me, and I was like, please help me.
Turn the music up a bit louder.
I told him, like, please help me. This is really painful. Please get him out of me. And then I pushed once, and then at that point he wasn't wearing his like hospital uniform, or
He wasn't fully gowned up yet.
Gömlek.
Yeah, he's just in.
Yet.
He has doctor's clothes on, but not ready like with the extra overalls fully yet.
So I remember he got dressed super fast.
He's also like kind of like used to push. Then afterwards, like everyone kind of was like, oh.
Because he told me after one push, he said he can see the head and and his hair and his head. Keep pushing, he is coming, he said. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna push, you know, with all the energy, everything I've got, just push. Because I really wanted him out as well. I was done at that point. I was really, really done at that point.
This is kind of like just before 10 p.m. So he'd only been in hospital a couple hours.
Yeah.
Max.
And then I pushed again. And then he was like, just one more push, he's out. And then I was like, ah!
That's a very huge understatement. That's not what it sounded like.
I was very loud, right?
Very loud. There's a reason it's in the basement of this hospital, to contain the sound, I think.
I think I never screamed that loudly, ever. It was super, like...
And again, it was intense, but you weren't fearful. There's no fear in your eyes. Like,
yeah.
It was very much like everything. Like, it was just like the peaking of the rhythm of like, you kind of been like rhythmically going, but this is kind of the peak of the symphony. Really.
Exactly. At that point, I didn't care about anything else. I pushed one more time. On the third push, he came out. And that was it.
Yeah,
and
it was very quick.
It was 20 minutes in total in that room, and then he came out. And one of the amazing thing was that they didn't have to open up episiotomy, it's called in Turkish, for me, because I did lots of perineum massage.
So I do the massage
and
to help things.
I had few little yırtık. What was yırtık?
Tiny tears, very
tiny tears, not like muscle tears or anything
baby
like
tears.
that. Thankfully, I think there were two, and I remember he stitched me up, and at that point, I of course already had Forrest on me. I breastfed him.
They'd done all the baby checks as well.
And I met him, and we talked a little bit.
They did skin to skin with me. After he came out, they did they cleaned him up, did the normal checks. They put him back to me briefly, and then back to you. Yeah, he was on to you, did the checks, back to me, back to you.
And then at that point, my doctor's called Ayhan. I remember I kept saying, we did it. And then he said, no, you did it. And then he said, I really trusted you. This is why I really waited for vaginal natural birth, because I thought you can do it after C-section. Otherwise, he said, I really don't wait this long for many of my patients who already had a C-section. And I was just very emotional and very thankful that it happened. It was like a dream. It's almost like an out of body experience. Like, I did it, but it feels like did I really do this? Like, it was really hard to wrap my head around it.
They gave you a few instructions, but it was entirely you. Like, it was awesome to watch. Like, just very heightened focus. And I was like, I expected maybe some nervous looks or something, but you're very focused. You're expecting it. You played this out in your mind. Your body was doing what it needed to do. You were calm, but very intense.
It was very intense.
Like, I think a sense of inner kind of mental calm you had, but physically intense. I think those two together made it quite an awesome. I mean, the other people in the room were quite taken aback to watch as well.
For me personally, if I'm going through a very hard, intense moment in general in life, I know I have to focus, and during those moments, I prefer to be alone. Like, I don't like being touched. I don't like being talked to. I just need to be one, like, with myself, and it was like that during labor, and that was really helpful. So even like if Lawrence if he tried to give me a massage during waves, I didn't want it. I didn't even want to be touched, and that's just about my personality, how I function.
Keep going.
So that was really helpful for me. That I just focused on myself, the baby, and the delivery of him, meeting him, and the end of it. Because I think if you don't see the end of it, it's really hard to go through it. And yeah, this is our story. And then we overstayed at the hospital. Everything was fine. Sage came to meet Forrest the next day, which was awesome. One of the biggest advice I've gotten or I read in different books was, don't introduce the newborn baby to your toddler while you're holding the newborn. So you may disagree, you might do it differently, everyone works differently, but for us that was helpful, that Sage didn't see me holding the newborn immediately as she walked into the hospital. Forrest was laying on his bed, and Lawrence brought Sage from home, and I was just waiting for Sage, and I was with Forrest, and I said, let's go, Sage, let's go meet your brother. And then we actually left the hospital pretty quickly. Look at those lips. Look at that guy. So, yeah, I think, what time did we leave the hospital?
Like mid-afternoon.
Mid-afternoon. And I gave birth 10:07 at night, the previous night. With Sage, because I've had C-section, I had to stay in the hospital, and because we didn't already have kids, so we were more free, we stayed at the hospital for 2 nights. So here at this hospital, we didn't even stay for a day, which was amazing in my opinion. But giving a vaginal birth, natural birth, was really, really empowering and amazing personally for me, because I was able to stand up quickly and eat on my own, feed him on my own, hold him on my own, walk on my own, take a shower on my own, which was amazing, which I couldn't do after C-section, which was super, super tough. So I personally am a fan, if it's possible, if you're healthy, if baby is okay, a fan of vaginal birth. But I don't want to do it again. So this is our birth story. If there's anything else we missed, we can probably do another quick video. If you have any questions or anything you want to add and say, you're very welcome to write down below. That's what everyone says on YouTube, so I thought I would say it as well.
This is the conclusion.
So Forrest got 6 centimeters taller ever since he was born, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gained quite a lot of weight as well, which is awesome. So
that means very, very good in British.
What means very good?
Awesome.
Anyway, anything you want to add?
Melis was awesome, basically, and our doctor asked to have an interview with her to encourage other Turkish ladies to go ahead with vaginal birth after cesarean. I'm very proud of you for doing it. You didn't need my support really. I just had to drive you there and just help with the background things. But actually, I think to do this, you do need to just have a birth partner, just to take care of the basics, who knows what you want, so you can just get on with it. It's actually a very easy job, but I think it would cause a lot of stress if you didn't have that. So I did a very good job, and the doctor said I did a very good job.
He did.
I cried a lot the few days afterwards, as I just was amazed at just how you did everything. You know, this guy was inside you, and he came out. And it's quite beautiful, really. It's quite just the timing. It's quite a natural kind of flow, just quite organic. You're very much at one with your body. You knew what you needed to do, and you did it, and he did it. The doctors and the nurses were generally very good, apart from the one that shouted. She'd never do that again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, one down part, actually, there was one thing as we got to the hospital that our midwife did, which, you know, I didn't really approve. I didn't really like. That was when I was in intense pain and I was just laying on the bed, just like breathing it out and making different kind of noises, which really helped me. I remember I overheard Lawrence asking her.
This is my fault, by the way, not her fault.
And he said at this point, and I was 4 or 5 centimeters open. And then he said, at this point, how much longer until we meet our boy? How much longer
What's
until
the minimum?
birth?
Just so I know how to pace ourselves. You know?
And this is like maybe 8 o'clock.
later than that now, I think probably
maybe
8:30.
8:30 at night. But she said the baby will probably come around 2 a.m. And I heard this, and I'm in incredible amount of pain. Like, imagine you're dying. Imagine all your bones are, they say, breaking in your body. That's how it feels at the same time. And I thought, how am I gonna do this until 2 a.m.? But I also felt like, okay, I don't have time to focus on this or like fear. I just gotta keep going, because if I get fearful, I knew this, that I will have more pain because my body will close down and it will get even worse for me. So I thought there's no time to fear this. Like, just focus on breathing. And the baby came in an hour's time or something, even less than that. So I think that wasn't very good. Anyway, yeah, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for spending your time watching us and listening to us. Yeah. Anything else you would like to add?
He's about to add something, and I'm guessing the translation is going to be milk.
Milk, mommy, milk. Okay, it's time to give this guy some milk. Thank you for listening to us, and talk to you guys in another video.